Hello and welcome to the arcade. The price of the Nintendo Switch 2 and its games is, well, let's be honest, it's a little high for most of us, especially the games. Now, don't get me wrong, the hardware and the games look fantastic, but the price point of the games especially is enough to make me consider hanging on to my original Switch for a few more years at least. But some of us have had that original Switch for well over 5 years at this point. Is there really that much life left in this thing? Well, I believe there is, so today I want to talk to you about 8 ways to get the most out of your original Nintendo Switch before upgrading to the Nintendo Switch 2.
Number 1. Revisit your backlog.
Odds are you still have at least one unfinished game staring at you from the home screen like a neglected Tamagotchi. Shame on you.
Have you finished Breath of the Wild? It's already a timeless classic and an all-time favorite for most Switch owners. Have you played Mario Odyssey yet? It's still a blast and in my opinion the best Switch game out there and one of my top 10 favorite games of all time. Did you try out Kirby and the Forgotten Land yet? It's a fantastic and formula-changing entry into a long-running Nintendo franchise. And what about Metroid Dread? It's a welcome return to Metroid's old time-tested formula with plenty of modern updates. Here's a pile of Switch games that I own. Now, here's that same pile, but I took out all the games that I haven't beaten yet. Womp womp. Looking at this pile of unbeaten games and using howlongtobeat.com, I can estimate that I still have roughly 240 hours of game time left in my physical Switch library alone. That's not even counting the dozens of downloaded eShop games on my system. You should really give your old games a second life. You already paid for them, so why not? Number 2. Shop smart.
eShop sales are practically a religion at this point.
Wishlist all your favorite games and get notified when they drop in price. Check local game stores, Facebook Marketplace, and eBay because these are treasure troves for used physical copies. Share your games with a trusted friend if you're both comfortable with doing that. And aside from the eShop itself, you can also use the website Deku Deals to stay up to date on price changes and sales on games you're interested in. It has great filtering options and also lets you see historical price changes so you can always be sure you're getting the best deal possible. There's also a lot of historical price data on eBay and especially on pricecharting.com. Number 3. Explore indie gems.
Some of the absolute best games on the Nintendo Switch are not $60. My Switch has become an indie gaming machine lately. Try these games.
Celeste is a tight platformer with an emotional gut punch. You'll die a lot, grow a lot, and probably cry a little. Hollow Knight is Metroidvania perfection. It has a gorgeous bug world, challenging combat, and eerie beauty packed into every corner. Stardew Valley is where you'll lose your life to virtual farming. Grow crops, befriend townsfolk, fight slimes, marry someone cool, and then do it all again. A Short Hike is a 2-hour gem worth way more than its price. It's wholesome, breezy, and quietly profound. Golf Story is a quirky, sporty RPG with golf-based everything. It's charming, weird, and full of personality. Shovel Knight is retro platforming fun with a modern shine. Tunic is a Zelda-like, puzzle-oriented action-adventure. Undertale is quirky, heartfelt, and weird in all the right ways. Your choices matter, combat is inventive, and the soundtrack slaps. Hyper Light Drifter is a gorgeous game with wordless storytelling, neon vibes, and brutally satisfying combat. The Messenger is a slightly underrated gem. Think Ninja Gaiden meets time travel. It starts out retro and ends mind-blowingly meta. Ori and the Blind Forest is a lush, emotional Metroidvania with jaw-dropping visuals and heartbreaking moments. And Inside is a short, dark, unforgettable experience. It has puzzles, platforming, and a whole lot of existential dread. Indies on Switch are often deeply replayable, sometimes very cheap, and most of them are just plain joyful. Number 4. Nintendo Switch Online and Retro Value.
Okay, now it's time to get serious about the retro gaming capabilities of the Nintendo Switch. And I know some of the purists out there are gonna hate to hear this, but Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack just may be the best retro gaming deal out there.
You get access to NES, SNES, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Sega Genesis, and Nintendo 64. Some of the highlights are Super Mario Bros. 1 through 3, Legend of Zelda 1 and 2, Metroid, Crystalis, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario World, Earthbound, Donkey Kong Country 1 through 3, Star Fox, A Link to the Past, Super Metroid, Super Mario Land 1, 2, and 3, Link's Awakening, Donkey Kong 94, Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, Kirby's Dream Land, Fire Emblem, Metroid Fusion, and the list goes on. I did the math, and if you include all the games from Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack, that's over $2,000 worth of retro games for just $49 a year. Even if you just play one retro game a month, you're getting $4.17 worth per game. Now, here are the questions to ask yourself to help determine if Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack is worth it for you. Number 1, do I care about retro games enough to play 1 or 2 per month? Seriously, just once or twice every 30 days. Number 2, would I ever seek out or buy these retro titles otherwise? Do you already have a lot of retro consoles and games, or do you just wish you did? Number 3, do I want legal, convenient access to high-quality emulation with save states and online play? A lot of people aren't into sailing the 7 seas and prefer the official modern avenues to access retro games. There is an argument for why buy one retro game for $30 when you can rent 230 of them for $50? But seriously, if you answered yes to at least 2 of those questions, you're likely getting your money's worth at least a couple of times over. Of course, this is all assuming you haven't already modded your Switch to do, the emulation thing. Number 5, upgrade your setup. There are a bunch of ways to upgrade your setup. Number 1 is upgrading your comfort with a new grip or a case. Ergonomic grips like the Hori SplitPad Pro make handheld mode way more comfortable, perfect if you're playing longer sessions. I personally use the Hori SplitPad Pro anytime I'm gaming in handheld mode. Not only are the grips more ergonomic because of their size, but the rounded handles and the programmable buttons on the back make this feel like an upgrade even to the Switch Pro controller in some cases. While the SplitPad Pro is super comfortable and convenient, there are some drawbacks. It doesn't have gyro or rumble, so keep that in mind if you're trying to play games that require aiming or tilt, or if you're going to miss the HD rumble built into the original Joy-Cons. However, for most of the games that I play, Mario Kart, Monster Hunter, indie games, retro games, and even some shooters, the SplitPad Pro works perfectly. A better carrying case or stand also makes it easier to play anywhere. I recently upgraded my carrying case so I could more easily bring my Switch and games along with me when traveling. An okay case isn't going to cost more than $10 or $20, and if you wanted to go even higher than that, there are options out there. The main thing is that you want something with a nice hard shell to keep things protected if you drop it, and something that has room for all the games you want to bring, and room not to squish the Joy-Cons. Next is external controller options. Tired of Joy-Con drift? Try a new controller. The Switch Pro controller is expensive but high quality. This is the main controller that I use when I play my Switch docked. It is premium, and the price certainly is as well, but in my opinion it's worth it for the level of comfort and the features that this thing has built in. It can do anything the Joy-Con can do in most cases. It has the best rumble, best and most accurate gyro, and an excellent battery life. And the feel of the controller itself is actually one of the best things about it. It also has a capture button just like the Joy-Con, so you can grab screenshots or 30 seconds of gameplay with just the press of a button. 8BitDo controllers are cheaper, super customizable, and work for multiple systems. I don't own any of these myself, but they have rave reviews from almost everyone who has used them. They also have a variety of really affordable or really feature-rich designs, so it makes it easy to find one that works for you. What I do have is the CRKD Neo S controller, which is a $50 wireless controller that works with all of the normal Switch functions, but like the Hori SplitPad Pro has programmable buttons on the back. This helps a lot in shooters and really any other game where you don't want to be taking your thumb off the right or left stick for any reason. Just program your most used button that takes your thumb away and map it to the back button, and now you can use your index or middle finger to press that instead of having to take your thumb off the analog stick to press it. Wired PowerA controllers are affordable and solid for local multiplayer. These have varying levels of reliability and durability, but they are really cheap, so it's hard to beat these for just grabbing some extra controllers for game night, or even for your kids if you have any. I sometimes even find these for as low as $10 at places like Ross and TJ Maxx, so try checking places that you wouldn't normally go to for cheap controllers like this. Next, think about freshening up your Joy-Con with new colors or shells. If your Joy-Cons still work, you could try stick caps, grip covers, or even DIY shell swaps. You can find designs everywhere, Etsy and eBay being some of the biggest marketplaces to find cool designs. Only do this if you're really comfortable taking your Joy-Con apart though, or if the shells or covers are clip-on. If your Joy-Cons don't still work though, third-party Joy-Cons or budget replacements like Nixie or Binbach are solid and cost less than Nintendo's. Not buying official Nintendo Joy-Con is definitely not my first recommendation, because I believe that the extra premium you pay for legit Joy-Con is worth it due to knowing that it's got that Nintendo quality, particularly if you are buying the updated Joy-Con, which are the ones that are in stores now, and not the used one from the launch model of the Switch. But I know that's not in the budget for everyone. For your docked setup glow-up, try adding a TV stand or wall mount. Reorganize your game corner to make docking easier. I found a cheap Stanley wall mount at Ross for $12, and it fits up to a TV of 70 inches. The biggest one I have is only 55, so this worked out great for me. One thing I haven't tried but looks really cool is a USB hub for the dock. Charge controllers, add wired internet, or plug-in peripherals. This one on Amazon looks particularly good, and is only running about $25 at the moment. You could also add an HDMI switcher like this Philips one that I have if you have multiple consoles hooked up in the same TV corner. Next is a portable display setup. A portable monitor or tablet stand plus Bluetooth speaker or headphones can turn your Switch into a personal mini console you can move around the house. Some phone stands are even big enough now that you can use those for your Switch. This is great if you have other people who like to use the TV, or if you want a Switch station in a different room of the house. I also have a foldable rolling cart that I put a power strip and TV on, so I can move it around with the Switch or really any other console that I have hooked up at the time. It's not convenient for homes with stairs, but it's a cool setup that's easy to move from room to room on the same floor. Next, think about boosting your storage. This one is kind of a no-brainer, and probably most Switch owners have done this already, but if you haven't yet, you should grab a larger micro SD card. This way you can load up on digital games and demos. Even just 128 gigabytes makes a big difference, especially if you like to keep a lot of games installed at once. Less managing files equals a smoother experience overall. Next, think about audio enhancements. You can use Bluetooth headphones now that the Switch supports them natively. I have purchased more than a few pairs of cheap Bluetooth earbuds from Temu and Amazon, and they've all worked with the Switch so far. It's nice to have if I'm playing in handheld mode, but don't want to disturb anyone with the sounds of the game. Next, organize for motivation. Display your games and controllers in a way that makes you excited to play. Shelf setups, game boxes, or even digital icon folders help. A charging dock for Joy-Cons or controllers also keeps everything neat and ready. I'm kind of obsessed with buying phone stands to use for my controllers, and it's just a nice thing to see all my favorites displayed in a cool way like that. Number 6. Local multiplayer and game nights.
The Switch is the modern king of couch co-op. Call your friends, grab some snacks, and get competitive.
These are my top picks for a local multiplayer game night situation. Obviously, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This is the obvious choice and arguably the best party game ever made. Next is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, another great option, although this can end up being a really lopsided night if there are any Smash specialists among your friends group. Overcooked 2, just plain simple casual fun that anyone can jump in and understand right away. Super Mario Party Jamboree. This is the best Mario Party game on the Switch, with better boards, more minigames, and more characters than we've ever seen before. Last is Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. One of my favorite game nights I ever had was when we had a Nintendo World Championships at my house. Old school speedrunning challenges with all players on screen at the same time. It was absolutely wild. Number 7. Hidden freebies.
The eShop is secretly full of free games and demos that are actually pretty interesting. And even though I haven't played all of these, I figured I'd mention them just in case they sound like something you might want to try, or in case you didn't know they were free.
Tetris 99. Battle Royale Tetris? Yes, please. 98 others enter, but only one stacks to survive. Pokemon Unite. MOBA Madness with Pikachu. Warframe. Space Ninja looter shooter with endless content. Dauntless, a Monster Hunter Lite with crossplay and co-op. Fall Guys, Chaotic Jelly Bean Olympics. Color Zen, a relaxing puzzle game with no timers and no pressure. And did you know there are demos for all of these games? Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Princess Peach Showtime, Pikmin 4, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Metroid Dread, Miitopia, Yoshi's Crafted World, Big Brain Academy Brain vs. Brain, Octopath Traveler 2, Monster Hunter Rise, and more. Number 8. Organize and refresh your space.
Sometimes it's not the console that's tired, it's the vibe.
Display your games or build a themed shelf. Sometimes when I rearrange my room, I'll swap the books on my bookshelf out and put some games on there. And when I reorganize my desk, I always try to make room for displaying the games that I'm currently into. You could even make a Switch station with a charging dock, a stand, and a Bluetooth speaker. Even a small station that you could put on your desk could be a really cool thing. And last, think about organizing your digital games into folders by mood, genre, or backlog priority. You know, if it feels good to sit down and play at your setup, you'll do it more often. And you'll end up getting a lot more out of your Switch if you do.
So that's it. Those are the 8 ways that I feel like you can get the most out of your Nintendo Switch before upgrading to the Nintendo Switch 2. I personally believe that the original Nintendo Switch still has a ton of life left and a ton of support still coming from Nintendo. The original Switch sold 150 million units, so it seems like it would be crazy for Nintendo to abandon that big of a player base, just because the Switch 2 came out. And hey, I'm sure there's lots of other ways to get more life out of your original Nintendo Switch before upgrading to the Switch 2, so let me know what I missed. Do you have any tips, tricks, suggestions, or other hidden free or cheap games that you'd like to recommend? Let me know, and as always, until next time, thank you so much for watching.